The number one thing you can do to speed up your financial independence is to learn how to make more money. Yeah, today I'm going to be covering 5 strategies that will exponentially help you earn more money. And I have a bonus at the end that I think is actually dangerous. Hey, Frank Thomas here from Wealth Generation Strategies, and today we're going to be talking about one of my most favorite topics. How can I earn more money? You know something? I know life is just not all about the money, but I'll tell you something. If you can find a way to earn more money when you're working, then you'll have more time in every day to go and enjoy things that you want to do. Today's video is going to be talking about what I think are the 5 top things, and none of them are crazy. Except the bonus. The bonus, yeah, just wait for it. It's coming, it's coming. All 5 of these are things you can start working on today that can exponentially increase your pay. Now you could say, oh, well, Frank, what am I going to get? An extra 2% raise or 5% raise? Maybe 10%? Ha, ha, ha. No. What I'm going to tell you today, if you follow all of these things I'm going to be talking about today, you can double your pay. And I'm being dead serious. In the last 5 or 6 years, I've literally doubled my pay following everything I'm about to teach you right now. Number 1 is to learn more is to earn more. Now, you would say, well, that kind of makes sense, Frank, and that doesn't seem like rocket science, but you just hold on here. You don't realize what the power of this is. You always have to remember, and I keep telling my kids this all the time, people will pay you for what you can do for them. If you can't do much for them and you don't have a big skill set, then you won't earn much from them. And that is the truth of it. The sooner that you learn more, the sooner you can earn more. And you can say, well, Frank, but I don't got money to go to university for 4 years and spend $100,000. You don't have to. This kid here doesn't have a degree. And it's not that I'm better than anybody else, but I have done what I think is one of the most important things. And I've never stepped out of what I call the classroom of life and continued to build on my education. I've never stepped out of that classroom. And I've continued to try to learn and learn and learn. And the crazy thing here is, you don't even got to pay any money anymore. If you're watching YouTube today, you have the number 1 tool to learn any skill on the stinking planet. And I'm dead serious. You can find YouTube videos on how to do anything. And I mean anything. I actually went searching for some really crazy topics. And sure enough, I found a video on YouTube for it. So now it's not to say that all videos on YouTube are good, but it's a good place to start. Next, go to your local library. Doesn't cost you a stinking cent. Go to the library, get yourself a library card. In Canada, a library card is going to cost you maybe $30 for a year. That is nothing. You will spend $30 going to McDonald's for 2 nowadays. Get a library card and take out books, take out videos, take out audiobooks, and learn, learn, learn. And finally, and one of my most favorite places where I get lots of course material is Udemy. Udemy.com. Udemy is your friend because the courses at their regular prices are really reasonable. And when you get them on sale, they're ludicrously inexpensive. You can literally get a course. Just the other day, I was looking at a new skill set I want to pick up, and the course was $120 US. And I got a coupon code just waiting for the Black Friday special to come along. I paid $12. But that's just not a Black Friday thing. You're going to find those kind of codes all year long. You just got to be patient. Grab a course and go through it. Grab another course and go through it. Grab another course and go through it. And watch your pay increase. So if you want to earn more, you got to learn more. Remember that. Now, number 2, dig into your profession for the niche, high-paying micro talents. I know it's a bit of a tongue twister, but you got to look for those little niches in your profession that are very high paying, and they do exist. I remember one of my daughters came to me and said, "Oh, Dad, you don't make money in this profession." And I said, hogwash. You have to find the high paying niche talents that will pay you much more than what you're ever going to make working for the man. And you know something? She has found a few. You can go from earning $50,000 or $100,000 a year to earning $1,000,000 a year. And I'm dead serious. Just with this one tip. So look for the fastest and highest paying financial investments you can make into your particular profession. So you might have to learn something, but it's worth it. I have done this over and over and over again. I look at what is something that's in demand, but hasn't been well satisfied. Just recently, I'm just wrapping up a contract right now, and I'm in the programming realm, and this company needed somebody who knew Blazor. There's not too many people who know Blazor, but I had an idea how Blazor worked, and I understood the underlying technology, and I had developed other things that were very close to it, and I said, I'm your guy. And they're like, awesome. And I said, oh, by the way, and I was the most expensive candidate, I'm sure, by far. And you know something? They felt that I was an absolute bargain because I was able to provide them with exactly what they wanted in time, in budget, and they got everything they wanted because I was willing to look for that place where there was nobody else competing with me. You don't want to be like a seagull. I always say, never, never, ever try to compete with the seagulls. Throw a French fry on the ground and 6,000 seagulls dive onto it. Look for the place in your profession where there ain't no seagulls. There's nobody else diving for that French fry. It doesn't take a lot of talent, and it just takes a little bit of savvy to get that job. And you can earn a lot more real fast. So dig into your talent and look for those micro, high-paying talents. Now, number 3 is something I recommend that you do at least once every quarter to half year, and that's review what you make today. Take an accounting of what you actually do and how much do you make for what you do. Is it fair? Is it reasonable? If not, maybe it's time to brush up that resume of yours. Or maybe you have to talk to your HR department and say, hey, you know, I've done a little bit of a review and I'm noticing that I'm underpaid by 10%. You know, 10% can make a big difference. Believe it or not, it really can. Especially when inflation is racing along at 10%. Oh my goodness. But you know something? Review and know what you make. If you walk into HR and you are unprepared, you are going to get shot down faster than you can, turn around. And I mean it. I remember one time I was going into HR saying, hey, I don't think I'm being really paid well for my position. And, and they were like, oh, okay, well, we'll look into it. Bad thing for me to do because I allowed them to take control of the situation. They came back to me about a week later and said, oh yeah, we did a review of other companies that look for people with your talent base and your position. And we feel that you're actually being paid fairly. But, just because we feel that, we want you to stick around and we really value your time, they gave me like $1,000 more a year. And you'd say, well, $1,000. When you sat down and figured it out, and the fact that I paid a little more taxes because I just jumped over a new tax bracket, I ended up making less money. Believe it or not. At the end of the day, I made less money. I told them to take the raise away because it wasn't worth it. I wish I was making this one up, but I'm not. I found the next time I went to HR and approached them, I knew what people in my category made. And not only that, I walked in with, bargaining chips. Hey, yeah, I was talking to down the street here, company XYZ. They looked at my resume and they're actually quite interested and they'd be willing to pick me up at this much. And don't lie, be straight up about it if that's what you got. And if you're happy where you're working, you can turn to them and say, I'd really like to stick with you. But I have to also think about my family first and foremost. Be fair, be reasonable, but also be savvy. So be sure to review what you make today. It can really make a huge difference. Before we get into the fourth strategy, if you're enjoying this video, give it a like and consider subscribing. I talk all topics about wealth generation, so you don't want to miss a single video, so be sure to subscribe. Number 4 is improve your experience and title. Now, it sounds a lot like becoming more knowledgeable, and it kind of is. But what I'm looking at here is I'm saying to you, yes, maybe you are like, the only thing I can give you is a direct reference to myself. There was a time that I was just a programmer, or they would call me a single full stack programmer, or a intermediate a C# programmer, or whatever. Now, I wanted to become a senior developer, a senior programmer, because I knew that I could get better contracts. It would definitely be more work, but I could get better contracts that paid more for that. So what I did was I looked for a contract that was they were looking for a senior developer. And I approached them and said, hey, I've got a lot of skills here, but I've never been kind of coined as a senior developer. Well, they looked at my skill set and they were like, you're the guy. And they hired me on. And I've held on to that ever since. Now I can go up to the next step and call myself a principal engineer or principal software engineer, things like that. Those people earn even more. But I'm really happy with where I'm at now. Consider becoming a contractor. Don't be afraid to do that. This will allow you to improve your experience and title faster than a full-time person could, because you have an excuse to jump in and work for a company for a much shorter period of time without trying to explain why you were only there for 3 months or 6 months. It's not unusual for companies to hire a developer for 6 months. Not unusual at all. And it's like that in many professions. They'll hire an accountant to come in to audit their books for 3 months. And all of a sudden, this person is let's say they're trying to get their CPA. And they go in and they do audit the books and they learn more about how businesses run, and it makes them easier and faster to become a CPA. And you can try a lot of different tasks in a very short period of time, and you've got an excuse for doing that. So do consider it. Now, there is downfalls to become a contractor. You haven't got benefits. You haven't got, holidays. You got to plan for all these things. You got to handle the government payroll. So there is a fuss factor to it, but it's not that big a deal. You just got to plan for it, and remember, as a contractor, you will get paid more. It's not unusual to make at least 10% more, if not 30 or 40% more than a full-time person. So just think about that. If you want to make more money, learn how to improve your experience and your title. Now, people don't put a lot of governance into titles, but they are important. Being a senior or being recognized as a senior in your trade is better than being recognized as a general or an intermediate person. Just remember that. Number 5, and don't run away just yet. Remember, the bonus is coming up, and as I said in the introduction, could be dangerous. You'll see. But number 5 is all about job hunting ninja tactics. Everything about a job, whether it's a contract or full-time position, can be negotiated. In a contract, you can be negotiating your hours, where you're working. Is it remote, hybrid? As a contract, you're definitely negotiating how much you're making per hour. Now remember, as a full-time position, you have a lot more you can negotiate, because it's not just about the pay. As a full-time person, you're going to see holidays, benefits, other perks, and definitely the pay can be negotiated. A good example, let's say you figure out how much you make a year. Let's say you get hired on at $100,000 a year. Now divide that by 52. What does it work out to be? About $2,000, let's say. So a week of holidays for you is worth $2,000. So let's say they came to you and said to you, we're going to give you 2 weeks in the beginning. Say, well, I'd really like to have 5 weeks. Oh, yeah, and we're not going to give you 5 weeks. Most places won't give you 5 weeks. That's our policy. We only give 2 weeks. Policy can be bent depending on the situation. If they feel you're the right person and you have ticked all their boxes, they will negotiate. Holidays, let's say you really want 3 or 4 weeks. You start a little higher. You always negotiate into what you want. Because sometimes, little secret here, you'll come out saying, I'd really like this and this and this, and they just give it to you because they want you. And then you kind of go, 2 thumbs up, baby. I've done that a few times. There was one position I had about 2-3 years ago that I really wanted to make X number of dollars. And they came to me and said, well, what are you thinking of making? And I said, I'd really like to make. And I actually quoted a higher number, about 10% more. They came back and said, yeah, we gladly pay you that. And I thought to myself, man, I should have asked for more. But the truth of the matter is, always negotiate into your position. Don't negotiate at your position. You will come to your position. For example, let's say you want to make $100,000 a year. You go in and say, well, I'd really like to make 110, or let's say 115,000. Then what you do is you let them say, oh, well, we're really only paying 80, but tell you what, we'll pay you 95. And you can say to them, well, would you consider 100? I would be willing to come down at 15 if you're going to go up to 15. If you're only paying 185, if you come up to 100, we find our halfway middle, would you give me a handshake right now onto this deal and bring me on at 100? You know something? A lot of companies would. And you actually got what you wanted, $100,000. Benefits. Benefits can be negotiated. I remember when we were a much younger family, my youngest daughter needed lots of medications because she has a condition where we need to continuously buy her prescriptions, especially when she was younger. I actually went in and said, I would really like to have benefits. I had been working as a contractor and the medication drugs were just killing me. And all of a sudden I'd be working for a little bit less because full-time normally pays a little bit less. I needed a way to pay for her prescriptions. And I bluntly said to them, hey, would you be willing to figure out a way to start my benefits from day one instead of 3 months down the road? Because it's normal in Canada, if you haven't had benefits, it takes 3 months for the benefits to become active. And the company said, oh yeah, that's no problem. We'll give you benefits from day one. We'll just pay. You give us all your receipts and we'll pay them. Bonus. Perks. Other perks you can negotiate. Hey, can I have a work from home day every week? In other words, I work from home and get stuff done so I can just get stuff done and not be disturbed. That's worth something. You're not commuting that day. You're not getting all dressed up. You're able to actually get more done sometimes than you would if you were not in the office. Don't take advantage of this. I see people all the time taking advantage of this. And let me tell you a little secret. Good managers can tell. I've managed people now for close to 10 years, and good managers can tell when somebody's taking advantage of a work from home perk because nothing gets done or very little gets done. Their productivity goes in the toilet. You need to show that you're more productive out of the office than when you're in the office. And of course, like I said before, the pay is also negotiable. That's where we started. Absolutely, all things are negotiable. So be sure to negotiate all different things, especially when you're looking for a full-time position. Now the bonus. I like to say, strap on the rocket boosters to your efforts. Now this bonus is you're gonna listen to it and kind of go, oh, that's a little bit of a letdown, but I want you to think about it because people don't do this. I have earned more money from this bonus point than any of the other 5 all put together. You've done everything. Let's say now you've done everything you can do from 9 to 5 to earn as much as physically possible. Right now, okay, you've raised your salary from 80 to 120. You've got an extra 2 weeks. You have nice benefits. You have a few more perks. You can work from home 1 day a week or 2 days a week. You got all that stuff. But now, wouldn't it be nice to strap some rocket boosters on and find a way to double your income? It is very possible. What you need to do, though, is you need to learn how to slice out 1 to 2 hours every day throughout that week. Yeah, you're going to work a little bit more during the week, and you're going to have to sacrifice some family time, so you have to make sure that your family's good with this. But you do it with purpose. You're not wasting time. Now, what I want you to do is to do something really simple. I want you to get a pad and start writing stuff down. I want you to write down scratches that you can itch. In other words, what is something that just annoys the crap out of you? I just recently came across something, and I'm building a piece of software to scratch my own itch. In other words, I'm going to fix my own problem. And I know that it's a very worthwhile idea. Also, I've created software in the past. Now, don't expect everything you try to be successful. And I know I'm jumping around a little bit here, but you're going to try a few things and just keep trying, because you're going to strike rich. You're going to strike gold. You got to keep trying. As you write things down, scratch your own itch was the first thing. Another one is write down things that you know that you can create a mini course on. Now, don't become grandiose and try to create a 2-week course and 600 hours and lessons and slides and everything else. Think of a cheat sheet. Cheat sheets sell for $5 each, $7 each, $10. It depends on what it is and how good it is. Develop a small course that you can possibly put on Udemy. Become the next Udemy person, or put material on YouTube. I actually got my start in the programming realm by doing YouTube videos on another channel. I actually made a lot of money off of that channel from these videos I put up. I put about 20 videos up on a particular piece of software that I was learning, and I was learning how to program it at the same time. That got picked up by a lot of people because nobody else was doing videos on that particular piece of software. So I got thousands and thousands of views. I think the most views I got on one of my videos during that period was like 35,000 views. It was just nutso. But you know something? I made a lot of business from those videos, and I was brought in to develop software in many different projects. Did I make money on every one of them? Not so much. Some of them I did, some of them I didn't. But it gave me the experience, and back to one of my points earlier, it gave me the experience that I needed to turn around and scratch my own itch on something. And then I did develop a piece of software that made a lot of money. We did very, very well. Let's just say I took 4, almost 5 years off. Yeah, I probably should have saved the money, but at the time, I just wanted some time off, so I took the time off. But we did that well. We really, really, really did. So that's how you strap the rocket boosters on your efforts. Sit down, figure out what you can write. You can write a book. You can make a course. You can do YouTube videos. You can do Udemy videos. You can develop a new product. Scratch your own itch, as I mentioned earlier. It doesn't matter. Just try. And because if you get yourself into that mindset of writing stuff down into your pad and trying, you will strike the winning idea. If you don't, you won't. I promise you, you won't. But when you're always writing stuff down and coming across, oh, I could do that. I know how to fix that. Oh, that drives me crazy. I'm sick and tired of fighting with it. And sometimes you don't know how to solve that problem. Piece of software I was just telling you about that I wrote, I had no idea how to fix the problem when I first started. But I knew that it was a problem, and a lot of people were choked with it, and especially myself. So I actually kind of created a minimum viable product, I call it, and I built this product around the idea of just doing it manually, but it worked. It actually worked really well. And once I'd figured that out, I started wrapping software around it, and within, I think it took me 6 months to build it, 6 to 9 months. After it took off, it took about a year for it to take off and start creating some serious sales. But, you know, it wasn't unusual for us to sell over $100,000 in licenses in a month. It does work. So be sure to try this and try all these things I've taught you today. Now, let me tell you something. If you have found value in this, I recently just did a video, and it should be showing up on your screen right now. It's all about what is the best wealth creation plan. Now, today we just talked about making more money, but this video encompasses everything. It talks about all the different facets on building a really successful wealth creation plan. If you haven't watched it, be sure to check it out. Otherwise, I want to wish you a great day, and thank you for joining me today. And like I said earlier in the video, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to. Frank Thomas here. Let's get wealthy together. Talk to you again. Bye-bye.